B'siyata d'ishmaya. Everyone has the papers of the Birkas Shmuel. Here, Yoshua. Everyone has papers. That's all I have.
I have 5 more.
There's more.
I have 5 more. Yeah, if it's okay, I have 5 more.
Okay. Yeah. You know Birkas Shmuel? You have.
I have. This just the Birkas Shmuel?
Yes, Simon Bob.
No, I have.
Good. First of all, I want to say tonight, I have an engagement with my daughter, so I'm inviting everyone. At 8 o'clock, I think, around exactly an hour, tonight, in the, we call it today Chal David, or something. So, we're going to start Siman Vov. Omar Rove. בדף זין עמוד א' אומר רוב. תן מון לפלויני וקרא שלי לחום מקודש לי לעורב, עורב לא רב המגב דולמת אני לא ידויה, אפי זנן המגב דולמת אני לא יודע. This is the first case that the woman tells the husband, give money, 100 zuz to somebody else. And I'm married, even though she didn't receive any money. But she's married. Second case. Eilach mone v'kadesh leplonim. Take 100 zuz and marry the plonim. Mekudesh v'eved knaini. Eved knaini lama falgav delo kachosa v'lo yimidi kakoni nafshe. היית סנם יאב דלו כחוס אבל לא ימידי כמקני נפשו. או כקני לא להיטס. This is the Gemara. The second case is a middle guy. A middle guy gives money to the woman and he tells her with this money marry Ploini. So even though the husband was no lacking and nothing, yet he acquires her, like by a slave, other people give money, even though the slave didn't have no lack of money. He redeemed himself, he's free. This is the Gemara. The Rashbo has 4 questions. The Rashbo has 4 questions, which in the first looking, it looks like there's no connection between the questions. But the way that the Kashmul explains, he shows you that all the 4 questions are really one question. One Yesoid. And the Rashba is attacking one Yesoid of the Rambam's understanding. And let's see as follows. Ubarashba kosav v'zel shoy. Ve'arambam pirsha lezu. The Rambam explained the case of Evet Kanaini. A middle guy gives money to the woman, and he tells her, you're going to be married to Ploni, to the husband. The Rambam explained this case. Kegon, for example, Shechoza, that it went back. Mishi Niskav Shaloi, it went back. The one she's marrying to, he went back. V'omar, and he said, lo to her, Aran Mekudeshes li ba'no zu abo loch bigali. You are married to me with a pleasure that came to you because of me. The Rambam says, I don't know who pressured the Rambam to say this.
The Khatan, huh?
What? Right.
So the Khatan said
The Khatan said, the groom, we call him, the Chosan, the groom, he was the one that spoke. He says, I don't know why the Rambam is saying that the husband speaks. This is not similar, it's not like the law of Evet Kanaini, really. It's not really like the law of Evet Kanaini. Ella only when it's really like the law of Evet Kanaini. B'shenosan Ruven ve'omar Ruven. When the giver is the one that speaks. She'tem kodet Shimon should be married to Shimon. When the giver, which is Reuben, gave and he spoke, that she'll be married to Shimon. He says that's the only case where it's more similar to the case of Eved Canaanite. Now, it seems to be from the language of the Rashba. This is the first number one. This is the help of Hashem. Siyata Nishma. The first move is, it seems to be from the Rashba's Kasha, that he doesn't have a problem in essence and what the Rambam is saying. He's just saying who pressed the Rambam to say so. Mi dochako, which means the Rambam's position can work. But who pressed him, who pushed him to say such a thing is not similar to Evet Kanaini. Evet Kanaini's case would be more similar that the one that gives the money is the one that says the Aram Kodeshes. For Ploni, for Shimon. Reuben that gives the money, he's the one that says, you're going to be married to Shimon with this money I'm giving you. What? Guf Shlishi. The middle guy. Kepirusham shel Rishonim zah. Like the explanation of all those in here, come here, what's your name? Jeremy? Jeremiah. Yirmiyahu. Toda. Sit down. Shalom. Okay. So now, he says, like all the other Rishonim, which is like Rashi, we see clearly, Rashi clearly learned that the middle guy was a messenger, and he probably is the one that spoke. So like all the other Rishonim, the Rashi and the Rashba, they all learned that the middle guy that gives the money, he's the Shliach and he speaks. So who pressed the Rambam to say that the husband speaks? Okay, that's simple. If this is the way simply that we read the Rashba, we have a very simple answer. The Maggid Mishnah has a very simple answer. And because of that, the Birka Shmuel says, no, you made a mistake. You didn't read the Kasha properly. There's more lumdus in the Kasha. Not simple Kasha, who pressed him. The case is more lumdus and understanding. The Rashba was a problem in understanding. Okay? Once he changed, he shifted from the way simply you read it to more lumdus a question, then all the rest of the question fits the same line. If you don't say that, the next questions really have no connection so much. Let's see, let's continue. The Rambam wrote the same way that the groom, Chosom, is the one that speaks. But Teimon Ploini, in the case of Teimon Ploini, Teimon Ploini is the third case of Midin Shnei. The woman says to a man, a little guy, give money to Ploni, and I'll be married to Ploni. B'she'omar, the Rambam there says that the Choson speaks. B'she'omar mishinizkat shaloi, the one that she's married to him, he spoke, and he said, Arei mekudeshes li, you are married to me, ba'anas matonazu, with the pleasure of this gift, shekibalti b'tzolech, that I received on your will. We spoke about length 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, with the Rambam. What's the shot in the Rambam? We'll see soon, Bezrat Hashem, with the help of Hashem. How will Birka Shmuel learn Pshat Rambam? But Lemaise, the Rambam is constantly learning the same way. That the one who speaks is the husband. By the Knaini, the Rambam, by all the Vadai, because the husband is giving, Vadai, the husband, the one who speaks. By all the woman told the husband, to the groom, give money, and I'll marry to you, and the husband speaks. That's Vadai. Nobody argues on that. But in Evet Knaini, the Rambam chose not to learn like the Rashi, that the middle guy speaks, rather the husband speaks. According to Rashi, the middle guy is a shliach of the husband, so obviously he speaks. The Rambam learns, no, the middle guy gives, but the husband speaks. V'chen Kosav, the Rambam wrote in the same way, he also wrote that the husband speaks in the case of Midin Shneim. The woman tells the middle guy, give money to Ploni, and I'll marry Ploini, and the Ploini, when he receives the money from the middle guy, the groom, when he receives the money from the middle guy, he goes back and he says, I'm marrying you with the money that I received from your will. With the pleasure of the gift that I received in your will. And you will. Comes the Rashbo and he has 3 kashas on it. Gam ze eini yodea lama. When the word gam, what is the word gam? Who knows what is the word gam? Also. Also this, I don't know why. Which means, I don't know why the Rambam constantly is saying that the husband speaks. Also this, I don't know why. In the first kasha, this Canaanite says, I don't know why, who pressed the Rambam? I can understand it can work, but who pressed him to say so? It's the similarity with Canaanite is the little guy speaks. And Midin Shneim, also this, I don't know why. I don't know why. ¿Por qué? Right, I say also excluso, ¿por qué? Also this, I want to know why. And you tell Lama. He continues, the Adarabe. You know the word Adarabe? What is Adarabe?
Alternative, the other, on the other,
Opposite.
And not only that, opposite. Whoa. The first kasha was, I don't know why. Who pressed him? Who pressed the Rambam? I don't know why. Why the husbands, who pressed the Rambam to say that Canaanite doesn't speak? And Midin Shneim, I don't know why the Rambam says that the husband speaks. And Adarabe. And not only that, I don't understand why. Adarabe. Lichoy Romash apparently can understand. The Chokai Gam, no such case. This is close to be. That she gave and he spoke. This is with the help of Hashem. This is close to be that she gave and he spoke. Where he wrote on page 5b, she'en bo beis mechush, it's not even Kiddushin, 0. Ledas haravza, shal is tui by sema, and the Rambam holds it's not Kiddushin vaday. That's with that Arif, also the Arif holds so. Rav Alfasi also same thing, 0. So he says, listen carefully. If the middle guy, talk about Midin Shneim, the woman told the middle guy, give money to the groom, I'm going to marry the groom. So who speaks? The Rambam says the groom, the chosam, that received the money, he speaks, he says, with the money, with the pleasure of the gift that I received in your will, I'm marrying you with it. She says, looks like that the woman gave, because she told the middle guy to give. So she gave, because he gave on her behalf and her speaking. And he received and he speaks. So when she gives and he speaks, nosno he v'homaru, the Rambam and the Rif Hol is not mekudeshet. It's very similar to that. Which means, if the middle guy spoke, was different. If the woman told the middle guy, give money to the groom and I'll marry to the groom, and the middle guy says, okay, I will give the money, and with the money that I'm giving to the groom, you're going to be married to him. So in the same token, when he starts speaking to the middle guy, he says, no, I'm not your messenger. I'm really the husband. I'm doing an act for the husband. I'm giving the husband, but I'm doing an act for the husband. And you're going to be married with my giving, my action of giving to the groom. It's as if the husband gave you money. So then, the middle guy is not anymore the woman's messenger. It's not the woman's giving and the husband speaking. The husband gives and the husband speaks. Because the middle guy is like a messenger on behalf of the husband. But if the middle guy was not speaking, rather, the middle guy gave money, the woman told the middle guy to give money, and just acted upon her words. And then the receiver, the groom, to receive the money, he speaks. So it looks like it's very close, as if the middle guy is a messenger of the husband, of the woman, and the woman gave the money because he gave it on behalf of the woman's request. And the husband received the money, and he spoke. So he spoke. So the woman gave, and the husband spoke. It's very close to that. V'inami, if you want to say, v'inami, which means, what is inami? What is the word inami? Alternative means that you can say, okay, it's close to that, but you have another way to interpret this. It's as if the woman gave the money directly to the husband, but the husband, the fact that he received, he's giving back to the woman, and he also spoke. When we know such a case only works by Adam Choshen, which means if I don't want to marry the woman with the giving, the action of the giving of the middle guy to the wife, rather I want to marry the woman from the receiving of the husband of the groom, from the middle guy, the only way that his receiving of the money is considered giving to the woman is not the middle guy giving, is the husband, the groom receiving, and that's considered giving directly from the husband to the woman, only works by Adam Choshen, important person. And not only that, the third question, so Rav himself, Adam Choshen, has a doubt if it works. So Rav here says, Midin Shneim, it works Vadai. And Adam Choshen has a suffix. So he says, what's going on? If the middle guy spoke, so then it's great. So then the husband is giving and talking. Because the middle guy spoke and he gave. So there's an asina of the husband, because the middle guy, when he speaks, he breaks away from the commandment of the woman. The woman says to the middle guy, give money to the groom and I'm married to the groom. And the middle guy speaks now. Okay, I'm giving now the money and you're going to be married to the husband, to the groom I'm giving. So he's basically turning back. He says, no, I'm not your messenger. I'm working now on behalf of the husband. So then he cut away from her. So it's as if you have the giving and the receipt of the giving and the speaking from the husband. Because he's the messenger of the husband. But if the middle guy is not speaking, so then it's not the action of the giving, rather it's the receiving of the husband, of the groom. In order for the receiving of the husband to be considered that his receiving is as he gave to the woman, has to be, in order to have a connection, it has to be only by Dom Choshu, only a noble person, important person, his receiving is considered giving pleasure. And Rav himself, as a suffix about Dom Choshu works or not. And here we say that if Rav says Varaish is Mekudeshes. So what's going on, Tzolachim? Okay, this is what the Rashba, the words of the Rashba inside. The Mishle Melech understood the simple way of reading the Rashba and its face value, and he says a very simple answer. To the level that I don't understand, he says, V'tema. The words of the Rashba was a wonder to me. I don't understand what the Rashba's problem. I'm reading inside. V'ayim barav ha'magi bil choisi shaloch aval shetirets la'rambam shekosav adir v'zeh lashon. V'divrei tema in etzli. He says, the Rashba's question to me is a wonder. Not only I have an answer to him, his words are wondrous to me. I don't know what's bothering him. The essence of the words, of the holy words of the Rav HaMagid is like this. The Rambam is more comfortable for him to explain the foliage. Very simple. He says, who pressed you? I don't know why. The Rambam understood that I have a better way to explain our sugya that the husband speaks. Instead of saying that the middle guy speaks, and then you have to add a factor that the middle guy is a messenger of the husband. Instead of saying the middle guy is a messenger of the husband, you have to add a factor. I rather remove the factor and explain in a very simple way that the husband speaks like a normal way. And why the Gemara didn't speak about it? If you add a factor of shliach, you have to, the Gemara should have said it. If you don't add the factor of shliach, the fact that the husband is speaking, the Gemara doesn't need to speak about it. Why? Why the Gemara didn't mention that the husband spoke? The groom, the Gemara there was no need to mention that. It's already known in the whole Masechet Kiddushin, the groom needs to speak. And the messenger is just an exchange of him. It's an exchange of the husband. Really, the husband needs to speak. So the Gemara didn't have to say that. If the little guy is speaking, you have to add a factor that he's a messenger. And the Gemara should have mentioned it. If the Gemara didn't mention, much is off. And to say that the husband speaks, the Gemara should have mentioned you don't need. Because it's known that the husband needs to speak. That's the original classical case. So he says, I don't understand the Rashba's problem. After they got to the level, he says, the words, to me, the reading of, instead of the Rashba is saying, I don't understand who pressed the Rambam to say so. He's saying, I don't understand what the hell, what's your question? Your wonder. Your question is attainment to me. So what's the problem? The Rambam's position is much simpler position. Who pressed him? Who pressed you? To say shlich was the Rashi to say shliach. That's an added factor, which doesn't say in the Gemara. In a simple case, there's no added, no factor. It doesn't say anything. When it doesn't say anything, the classical case is the groom speaks. Not possible. Therefore, this is the beginning move. King to pawn forward. What I said this. Four. I thought forward. King to pawn forward. So this time I was saying it right. King to pawn forward. Four.
Space on the board.
King to pawn four.
Pawn to king 4.
The first move. That's it.
Pawn to king 4.
Okay. The beginning move of the Birkas Shmuel is this is the point. The point is saying you cannot read the Rashba in a simple reading. It's not possible. Because if that's what the Rashba is asking, it's Adarab, but the Rashba is Tema. You have to reread like a lamdan. You know what a lamdan mean? There's something deeper bothering the Rashba. An understanding of the whole essence of the Sugya. Wow. What is the longest Shaila that the Rashba had on the Rambam? What's going on? So now he reveals. But it's not his point. He found in the Sefer HaMakne. The Sefer HaMakne barely spoke, but he shoved it all in the Sefer HaMakne. Okay, so Ubesefer HaMakne Meforesh. The Sefer HaMakne explains Levdi Rashba. The Makne did not learn like the Rav Maki. He says, no, you made a mistake. That's not was the question of the Rashba. The Rashba had a lomdish question. How? The Makshu Kshlola Divra Rambam. What the Rashba had a kasha on the Rambam. U'al ma shekos amaran kodeshes li behano zu aboli biglali. The Rashba's kasha on the Rambam was a lomdish question. He says, who pressed the Rambam to say that the husband speaks and he says you are married to me with the pleasure. Rather say that the middle guy speaks and he's marrying her with the money itself. Again. Listen carefully. Wait. Let's go over the kasha. We talk about now Medina B'Knai.
But an umdin, why need anybody to speak when an umdin is enough? We have to speak to him.
In order to have an umdana, you have to have a situation of umdana.
What? The situation defines it. The terms it's spelled out, he's doing the money, and it's understood.
No, if somebody gives money, they don't speak.
He said be married. He said be married. That's a clear statement.
No. He says in what he's married with. Listen carefully.
But married, be married.
Well, second. One more, a few more minutes to end this.
Then the death no kasha going to anybody.
Right.
Then nobody. So what the
Listen carefully. The kasha is as follows. The Rambam says that when the middle guy gives the woman's money, Medina B'Knai, the Rambam says that the groom, the chassan, the ploini, goes back and he says what? So the problem is not technically who speaks, the messenger or the husband. The problem is in the lumdis. If the middle guy speaks, the lumdis, the understanding with what he's marrying the woman with, is different if with the husband speaks. Okay, this is the problem. Now he explains. If the middle guy speaks, so obviously he's what? He's giving money to the woman, and he's marrying the woman with what? He says, the money I'm giving now to the woman, you can be married to the groom with this, the plane. With what? He gave her money, gave her physical money. Money, and the money has pleasure. Everything is there. But if the husband is the one who says, this guy gave money, and I want to explain here where Reb Shimon Shkop in the base May comes in, and how the Birkas Shmuel cuts it all out. Listen carefully. This is the point, this is the pivotal point here. Again, the middle guy gave money to the woman. Comes the Rambam and says no, according to the Sefer HaMakne. Why the Rambam doesn't learn like Rashi? If the middle guy is the messenger of the husband, so the little guy is giving the money, the physical gufa kesef, and osano, and he's saying, you are married to this woman with this giving. But if the husband speaks, the middle guy gave, and the husband speaks. Wait a second. And the middle guy is not a messenger of the husband. And I don't have the Yad Ramah automatically when he gives, he's giving on behalf. Zechi of Shlichus for the husband. That's not, so I don't have to come on to the K'nai. He's not giving that. What is he? The Rambam says clean, it has to work. The Rambam says, the husband says, You are married to me with the pleasure that you got because of me, Biglali. This is the Rashba's kasha. Who pressed the Rambam? Now the word who pressed, what does that mean normally? I agree to your theory. Your theory can work. But who pressed you to say that? So listen carefully how the Birkas Shmuel learned the kasha. Unbelievable in the stages. The first stage of the Rashba is who pressed you to say so. The next kasha will be you're wrong. It doesn't work. But the proof that it doesn't work is only from the second kasha within Shlei. It's all one kasha. It's all one kasha. It's not technically who pressed you that he speak, he needs to speak. And within Shnei, how do you know this? And not only that, what you're saying, you get into trouble. So it cannot be, it's not a question of who, Endendino, you're trying to catch the cat, who's speaking. It's not the question. It's among this. It's not possible. First of all, what you're saying, I don't know who pressed you. And within Shnei, it's wrong, it doesn't work. That's a gilui that it's wrong, even originally is wrong. It's all one kasha. So listen carefully, what does he do then? What does he say? He's saying like this, beautiful. The first move he says, if the middle guy gives the money, and he's a shliach of the husband, so then it's on behalf of the husband. You can say the maise is a shliach, and the kinyan, the Canaanite, that's how it was answered, it's a bit in the Yeshiva, and the kinyan is only working as a receiving of the woman and not giving of the husband, but not a maise kicha. All those numbers, the ritva. Pshat and Rashi. The Birkas Shmuel says no. Bechlal, all that theory is off the wall. Why? He brings an halacha from the Rambam, which seems to me that nobody argues, the Gemara. And I read inside. ונסביר דברי ספר המקנה בעזר השם יזבורך. דין לבד ביאור דין עבד כנעני, הוא לא ידלוי בעין לסין הסבר, ועבד דין בדין כסף דוליין חוסר. It says not like Reb Shimon Shkop in the Beis Meir, that there is such a side by Eved Knaini that I don't need the giving of the husband and the lacking of the husband. There's no such thing. The Reb Shimon Shkop said no. He said the receiving of the woman receiving money, that obligates, that's the machinery that makes her to give an exchange marriage. So we cut it out of my sekicha and the kinyan of kesef. That's how we solved this concept of Reb Shimon Shkop last week. The Beis Meir says the same thing. They says, how does it work by Evet Kanaini? We learn from Evet Kanaini according to the Rabbi Meir. Even though the halacha is like Chachomim. But he follows the Rishonim that even Chachomim agree to Rabbi Meir that in a case where they redeem the slave, not in the classical case, a case where the slave says, I don't want to be redeemed, it still works. Chachomim agree to Rabbi Meir, it still works. Because Kabbalah Srabo and Gomolo, the receiving of the master causes the freedom. It's not the giving, it's the receiving. So now, same thing as by a woman. The Kiyam Kesef, we learn from it Kanaini, it's not the Maisekicha. Maisekicha, you need the husband. But the Kiyam Kesef, of Kol HaTorah Kula, of Evet Kanaini, of Echeni Alamoino, by Kiddushin, the Kiyam Kesef, their works only from the receiving of the money, for the sake to exchange marriage, exchange the selling, whatever you want to do with it. So it's only the receiving. And on that, we learn from the Kanaim is only the receiving. And Chachom agreed to Rameir that they just said in a classic case, you don't have to come on. Because normal case is zechus for the slave to go out. It's like shlichus. But in the case when it's not zechus, they agreed to Rameir that would work because Kabbalah Sraba Gomel, the receiving. Also by a woman. The kinyan kesef sheboy, not the maisekich of Kiddushin, the kinyan kesef of Kiddushin is only the receiving. This was the Reb Shimon Shkop and the Beis Meir. We spoke about it last week. Now we say, no! It's off the wall, the Birkas Shmuel says. Wow! So now we back into business. Because the Birkas Shmuel says, no! And this is really the point of this year. The Birkas Shmuel big Kiddush is, instead of saying, all we learned for the last 6 months, it's wrong. Normally we learn that the Maisekicha and the Maisekiyan Kesef needs to be by the husband. the main. Like the Maisekicha, you have two things power one another. Now he's saying no. True, you have a Maisekicha, but reference it needs to be the husband. But reference the Maisekicha and Kesef is only to receive it, not the husband. That's a very hard position. We solve it like that, but it's a very hard position. Rather say no. And the Maisekicha need the husband, and the Maisekicha and Kesef of the Kicha of Kiddushin only need the husband. And there's only the husband's doing it. Hey, if it's Canaanite, the husband didn't lose any money, he didn't give anything. Somebody else gave. Somebody else gives like he gave. And you do need it and it fulfills it. Rabbi, that works. Okay, we're going to see how they define it in details, in concepts. But that's the big Kiddushin of the Kashmir. The Kashmir is gaining and saying, no, this Gemara is not out of the rule. This Gemara, this rabbit, fits into the rule and it fulfills the rule. The Reb Shimon Shkar and the Beis May learned that it's out of the rule. It's out of the rule. And there's a point here, one point, my Sekichi is in the rule, but the Kiddush Kesef in that is out of the rule. You learned a mistake, it's not the Baal. Big Kiddush. Say, no, you need the Baal and the Maisekichi and the Baal and the Maisekichi of Kesef. You need a Chesor, you need a Nesina, you need everything for the husband. And you have it. And the Knai, he makes it, fulfills it. Very big Kiddush. Now, it's not the only Kiddush, but there is reference to other people that learned the Sugya. He, Mamish, makes a revolution. Listen to how he learns the Rashi. Reading inside. And he said it out based on himself. He found his Rebbe. Reb Chaim HaLevi said so. And Reb Chaim HaLevi said so, Pshat in the Rambam. I remember many years ago, I learned with my father, with Rabbi Zimmerman. Many times I used to go with him on the mornings, every Sunday morning for years and years. And sometimes in Pesach time. Not right, the whole month used to go to him every day for a few hours. And Rabbi Zimmerman, when he told me many times, he said that the Chaim HaLevi, Pshat in the Rambam, is emes la'alocha la'amito. It's not a lomdish sefer. It's not conceptual sefer. Since the Rambam, most of the time, that's the halacha. So whatever Chaim HaLevi said, Pshat in the Rambam, this is emes la'amito la'alocha. La'alocha. And he went to him multiple times, he said. And he wrote, he said, all the Chaims in his books that his students wrote, that's not halacha. But what he wrote in his book, he wrote only the masterpieces that he went over 100 times and decided his emes la'amito to the nth degree of this Pshat. And he wrote in his older days, if you look in our Kedoma of Chaim HaLevi, the Gris writes down, he says, only what he wrote in his Sefer, he went over it 100 times. Kesodis Leki with students many, many times. And he went over it, and he wrote it only when he was an old man. As a final emes la'amito, that he can stand in Shamayim. And they put him in a podium, and he stands in front of Hashem, in front of Mesita de Rakia, that he can stand over his Kiddushin, the emes la'amito of the Torah. That's the level. So every word is serious. So comes the Bika Shmuel, which also wrote when he was an old man. He followed his Rebbe, and he went over his pieces again and again and again until he wrote the Bika Shmuel. He says, I know what the Shimon Shkop said, and I know what the Besnei said. He says, no, it's not the Pshat. The Pshat is that really you need the husband to give, and you need the husband to have a lacking, not only in the Maisekicha, also in the Kinyan Kesef, moving his words inside. Elo Devada, reading the last 3 lines in the first column. Elo Devada, I mean in the Bikashmon, the paper should be in whatever moment. The Nazi.
Where?
Elo Devada. This is in 1, 2, 3, 4, in the 4th paragraph, the 3rd line. Elo Devada, rather for sure. Ba'inyon nesino v'shiyeh choser. We do need the husband to give, and we need him to have lacking.
This is all in the Kamash Malon, not in the Ba'aya.
No, in the Kamash.
Only in the Kamash Malon there's a difference.
Yes.
But in the Ba'aya, it's the same Ba'aya. Everyone has the same Ba'aya.
Everyone has the same Ba'aya. Rak, however, only, they are free on Medina Bet Knaini. We learn from the laws of Bet Knaini. The Nesina Sa'acher Shanosna Bishvil Abal. Somebody else giving for the sake of the husband. He's not acquiring ping pong to the husband, like the Yad Ramah. He's not saying that, like the Ismail. No, it's not what's working. Somebody else giving for the sake of the husband, nechsheves is considered avu haba for the sake of the husband. Even though it doesn't have the law of zechir and complete shlichus. It's a decree of the Torah and the law by itself. What is he saying? He's saying really, Evet Kanaini is not out of the box. Evet Kanaini fulfills the box. He's saying really you need the giving and the lacking of the husband. And when a new guy is giving for the sake of the husband without shlichus zechir, but it has the laws of shlichus, a reference to that you need to be above zechir. Let's say you're goy, you're out of the box. If you're goy, you're not in the parsha of zechir shlichus, you're out. But it doesn't work midin zechir shlichus. It works that my giving, even though I'm not mezaki, I'm not meriting you the ownership of the money, but my giving for your sake is as if you gave from the law of Evet Kanaini. And he learned it. I learned this from the Torah of my Rabbi, Holy of Israel. We have merited, for the sake of the name of blessed Hashem, for the light of my words of my Rabbi. That his amazing book came out to light. Shekosa. He wrote because the Reb Chaim Alevi says like this. If a Jew lend money to another Jew, she's chayv lechaveroi that not that he would pay back to somebody else, that the lending will be considered somebody else lent the money. Chal din malve, it takes effect the law of a lending ala shein and the second guy in the din of the crime, and therefore if we give ribis to that guy, it's considered he gave ribis. Again. The Chaim Alevi says, if I lend somebody money and it says, you don't pay me, you pay this guy. So I can not only transfer the payment to somebody else, and when somebody else being paid is like I paid, I can even do more than that. I can say, I'm lending you the money as if my friend lent you the money. And I never gave him the money as a gift. Sorry, I never gave the money to my friend, and now I'm giving it on his behalf as a messenger. Therefore, he's a lender. No, he becomes a lender. Really, I never gave him the ownership of the money, and I lent it to this guy. I still own it. He really owes it to me because I own the money. But I am him from the deed of Kanaani refers to my ployni, even though I never merit him the money. And he has a din malve to the level that when he pays back to my friend ribis, there is a relation between borrowing and lending, and then it's considered paying back ribis. Because normally the law of ribis is between a lender, borrower, and a lender. But here, the guy never paid back the ribis, the interest to the lender, to the real lender. He paid it back to his friend. But when I lend him the money, I said, I'm not the lender, I'm lending you on the behalf of he's the lender. And I'm not acquiring the physical money to him and I'm as an agent to give it to you. It's my money, it is not his. But Midina Vet Kanaini, I want that he should become the lender. So he becomes the lender to the level that when he pays back to ployni, ribis, there is a connection between the lender borrower and his ribis there, ribis ksutza, there's also midoraisa. Midina Vet Kanaini. And the Chaim Alevi proves it from the Rambam. You have to see that piece, unbelievable piece there. Arei Chazinon, clearly we see. The din of Knaini, the law of Knaini, Gzeras HaKosu is the decree of Torah. The din Mesuyon, and a specific law. I want to say the word Mesuyon, specific, a more defined law. She Yechoshu, that will be considered Nesino Min Abal, considered giving from the husband. And this is the punchline which I said before. This 2 lines, very important, and please everyone, I want to look inside. The din zeh, this law, the ein zeh din, this is not a law, bekinyan, an acquisition, it's not a law in acquisition that I don't need lacking. In acquisition I do need, not like Efshim and Shkor, that in kinyonim, I don't need a chos, I just need a receiving Kabbalah. Say no! The ein zeh din bekinyan, it's not a law in kinyon, Ever Knani teaches me kinyonim, not in kicha. Kinyonim, they don't need chosa. No. It's a general law that what? Nami reference to be for the subject that really there is a giver and there is a lacking, and he becomes a malvin. So then the husband was the giving and the husband was the lacking.
The Mishnah in Chaf Gimel calls every Canaanite kinyan. It calls the money of every Canaanite din kinyan.
Right? The Gemara says a kinyan womaness.
Not like sometimes.
Not true. We say there's a din kinyan, kol hakol kan kula.
According to Rab Chaim, even if that is the case of kinyan, that you don't need chassid, or that you have the chassid.
No.
It's a kinyan. It's halacha, not the case of
And all kinyanim.
Havaz not kinyanim.
All kinyanim.
Havaz not case of kinyan.
Kesef kinyan.
Havaz is not case of kinyan.
No, but it's not only.
Yeah, you have the din of every Canaanite.
Yeah, but it's not only in kinyanim. There's also an alvo.
Oh,
But
so
no.
the din of every Canaanite is not a halacha b'kesef. That you don't need that you have the chazar. Not a halacha b'kinyan kesef like the base mayor and like the ratbaz and like.
No. Like at that point.
Right.
But they say that you don't need lacking and giving, just receiving. He's saying two things. He's saying two things. Number one is not a din kinan only. There's also a dinim of din momenes of borrowing and lending. And not only that, it is giving and it is lacking. To the level that it didn't mobilize, I have a malva here. The other guy becomes the lender. And therefore if you pay him ribis, it's like there was a ribis between a lender and a borrower. It's a big kiddush.
It's a very big kiddush because the Mishnah calls the kesef of every.
But we learn it from there, my friend. We learn it from there and we expand it there. Yes!
Oh! So you see, it's not a halacha but kesef kinyan.
No, but you don't have a kasha, the Gemara calls it kinyan. I thought you were saying kasha. The Gemara says calls it kinyan. It's not a kasha. That's the makor. The makor is by kinyan.
It's a ma'aser and a tuna
But we
ma'aser.
expand it everywhere.
It's a ma'aser and a ma'aser.
What?
It's a ma'aser and a tuna ma'aser.
Correct.
Add something?
What?
What's he add? Is he adding something? What's he?
Well, Rabbi Bochum? No, he's explaining it better. He explained it. He says, dinim, I thought he's asking a question, but he wants to make clarify for everybody. When it says, din bedinim momenes be'alma, what is he saying? This kinyonim and din bino, because lending, borrowing lending is not acquisition. Borrowing lending is a law in money, and monetary law in general. It's not an acquisition. When I lend you money, it's not acquisition. The money was mine, owned, and now it's owned by you. It's not acquisition. It's a law in monetary. How does it work? Okay, good point.
We're explaining.
That's what he meant to say.
The Berkshire School is explaining to us that by lending and borrowing, we can infer from the fact that the one that gave over the paying back to the other guy, we can also infer from that since he gives over the paying, the lending goes on him too. And
Right. It's not only a paying back to somebody else. That's what it means. So I'm not just paying back somebody else. That somebody else becomes the lender. Okay. Now, so therefore from there you learned, because we went from there, that you do need a giver, and you do need choser. Just every Canaanite makes it as if, and you have to have dinei shlichus and schir. And you don't have shlichus schir here, but you have to be part of the parsha of dinei shlichus and schir. That's what Goy is.
Knocks out the Havamina that we were working on before, right?
Yes.
One suggested,
Yes.
don't use the term as if, use the word consider.
Consider.
Because as if means not exactly. Considered means it's it. In English, I'm just saying in English. Nechsheves, not keilu.
Nechsheves. So the word nechsheves means
Consider.
consider. Okay.
But keilu, as if it's keilu.
Okay.
So let's
So it's nechsheves. Are you translate nechsheves?
consider.
Considered.
What's his?
It's not as if, it's considered.
It's just an English thing.
Okay, good.
It is it.
It's considered because there's.
It is
It's
it.
considered.
Yes.
But it's not is it.
Considered by
If
God.
it's is it, it's shlichus. So it's not is it, it's considered. It fulfills what is needed.
God
Yes.
said, God.
One says, somebody else says,
What is Ryan?
It's enough.
one says, how is ready.
What? And
He's
what
ready.
does Rabbi say?
Pshat menam, is right now.
And what's the shot?
You have to learn the whole Bikashah, the whole of the Chaim inside. I just said the punch. You have to learn, it's a very big piece, complicated piece, but brilliant, mamash, brilliant piece, unbelievable. And he shows that the Rambam is the best pshat in the sugya because a lot of problems But all the Rishonim are stumbling, and the Rambam bypasses all that, explaining what it's explaining, and so that's the yes, Rabbi.
The point is, Rav Chaim comes out of a beautiful beer.
Yes.
When we say that Kesef Pachlis Misharav Pluta is not
Chalipim,
Chayim,
yes.
right? So, and there's a machlekes whether it's because it's a gnai like Rashi
Right.
says, or it's not Teres Kesef.
Correct.
According to Rav Chaim, because the reason why it's not Teres Kesef is because you can't be chaser in Pachlis Misharav Pluta. And you need a chaser.
It's another deal,
Yeah.
another aspect. Okay, very good. Can I have that there as well? Another possibility. Okay. I mean, another punch. What's missing?
Right.
It says not only you need choser, there's also there's a chefts of kesef. You really not only have chefts of kesef. It's also a chison of a choser.
Right. And
You need choser.
According to Rav Chaim, you need chaser.
A puta.
Right.
Okay. V'asher al kain. Oh, now because of this big change, the Birkas Shmuel says, now I will explain to you what really the kasha of the Rashba and the Rambam was. So now, really, the first kasha was, who pressed you? Because you have two ways. And who, if you already said halfway, you should say full way. We'll see the second way he's asking. But in the second kasha, you say you're wrong. Because here you can have two possibilities. But in the other case, with each man, there's no two possibilities, there's only one, so you're out. That's really what he says. So let's see, along this, let's see. V'asher again, he says, once we know this, well, we know what? We know that Din Evet Knaini does not say that you don't need Choser. Sheves. And he said the word? Considered as if you have. Considers that you have lacking and Choser and Nesin in the giving. Now there is to investigate. Yeshlach kol beviuma da'apero noso di Nesin avur haba. This is what the help of Hashem. You can investigate what does it mean when the Torah gave the law of Nesina for the sake of a husband. Midin v'knaini umi b'gufa kesef. Da'adei nesinosom shel acherim gufa kesef. Chosh nesin nabal lo להכיר בגוף של כסף ממש או לא. דבירו דין זרע הסקות של דבר כנעני ושנחשב הנסין עבור הבעל לעניין שיש דין ענו שבו לא הכסף מכויכו וזהו דין הנסין עניין קניין והיינו דחשיבה התוירה דין נסין הסחיירים לעניין שענו עשה נסין מה שבו לו מן הבעל זהו דין החוסר ונסין ולגוב הכסף הוא החוסר והנוסון עבור הבעל. Stop. I read a lot, and I'll explain it by heart. He says like this. There's two ways to look at what happened here. What's the case? The middle guy gives money to the woman, and he says, my giving of the money is considered is for the husband. Okay? You're going to get married to the husband, to the groom. The middle guy gives money to the woman, and he says, with this giving of the money, you can be married to the groom. So now there's two ways how to look at it. That when the middle guy gives money to the woman, he gave her the body of the money. She also got pleasure from that money. So every money, if it's not matonas la'atzi, it's not a kli, there's also pleasure. It binds together with pleasure. And the Rambam shita that always you need by Kiddushin now only kesing and ano. You can have only ano, but you can have kesef which has ano. Kesef doesn't have ano in it, doesn't work. We learned that already many times in the last 3-4 months. Double kayom, etc. So now, what happened here? The middle guy gave money to the woman. This is what I help Hashem. And what do I transfer? I say the middle guy gave money and it's considered the husband gave the body of the money, or the middle guy gave her money and pleasure, and I consider as if the husband gave the pleasure. And not the money. What happened here? Like the same Hakir we had in Orev, that's his point. We found in Orev, this is really this Hakir of the Rishonim. The first one that revealed it to the world was the Machne Ephraim. We learned it. The Machne Ephraim, by Orev, he brought a machlekes between Rashi. We had the Ritva.
Tosfos and the
Ritva.
And the Tur on one side.
Tosfos and the Tur on one side and the Ritva on the other side. Okay? We had Rashi hold for the next. So now, what was the chakir of Orev? The woman tells the husband, the groom, give money away to Ploni, and I'll marry you. With what he's marrying her? With pleasure that he listened to her and he gave money away? Which could be is not the full pleasure of the giving of the money. He gave maybe 100 zuz and she got pleasure, just a put or a few putas. Or even Kote Chazonish, Shimush, and listen, it was not the full. We have to come into sprinkles. That's one pshat, is the pleasure. The other side of the Rishonim is the Ritva says that when I give money to Ploni, not the Ritva. The Ritva was unknown. Toisa says, Tosa the Masechet Bamitzia says in the two, that when the woman tells the groom, give money away, the receiving of the money of Ploni, that is a bendas, is not a cheresh, is an adult, is a shliach. Also the Ritva said it somewhere. We had a stira, as if the shliach, he becomes like a messenger, the Rashbam, and as if the woman received the entire value, the money itself, the goof of the money itself. The body of the money itself. So again, by an Orev, the Rishonim was a machloikes. What happens by Orev? The woman receives pleasure, even less the value of the real giving. Or no, she's considered she received the entire money. And we have many ways how to do it. Through shlichus, or the Chazon Ish was says, since she used her money with whatever the guy, whatever the groom did because of her words, that's a full usage of the full money. It's considered usage and pleasure, usage of the entire money, value of the entire money. We argue that we says, no, you have to do a combination. Hello? Works, okay. There's 3 or 4 ways how we explain it, but the Bach brought 2 split ways. Is it that the giving of the money away, that the groom gives away, is like the woman received the entire goof of the money? Or no, the pleasure that he listened to her, she received pleasure of value of Pluto. 2 ways I learned. He says, the same chakira, the same investigation we have by Evet Knaini. Evet Knaini is not that the woman tells the groom, give away money. Somebody else the middle guy gave money to the woman. He said, with this money you'll be married to the husband, to the groom. So how does it work? That giving considers as if the groom gave the woman the real money, gufa kesef, or he gave her pleasure. So although the Rashba is of the opinion by Orev that she only got pleasure, the Rashba says, here I argue on the Rambam. Here, who pressed you to say that you're marrying with a pleasure? You should have said he's marrying with the money itself. That's the kasha. So the first kasha says, who pressed you? And then he says, you're wrong. We'll see in a second. So again, comes the Rashba and it says, although I'm the one that I hold by an Orev, when the woman tells the husband, the groom, give away 100 zuz, I'll marry you. There, the Rashba himself learns, like one of the Rishon, like one side, that giving away money is that she got pleasure. By Orev, the Rashba learns that the woman received only pleasure. And then the Rambam says also pleasure. He says, there I agree to the Rambam. The Rashba says, there I agree, you're right. By Evet Knaini, he says, who pressed you to say that he's marrying with pleasure? You should have said that you're marrying with the money itself. How? And here comes Reb Chaim HaLevi. Listen carefully. This is where he uses Reb Chaim HaLevi. You must hear this beautiful logic of the Kiddushin. By pleasure, you can explain 2 ways. How the husband gave, listen to this, Rabbi Soy. By pleasure, there's 2 ways you can say, by Evet Knaini, how the woman received pleasure. Because somebody gave, not considered, on behalf of him, is as if he gave her pleasure. He's the cause. Biglali. What does the word biglali means? I caused you to have pleasure. Biglali, because of me, you got pleasure. So there's a direct connection between the husband and the wife. Again, the little guy gave money. He wasn't an agent for the husband. And he said, this money, I'm not an agent, I'm not acquiring the money to the husband. But if I'm not talking about the money itself, about pleasure, the fact is, I caused you on my behalf, you got pleasure, so it's a cause. Because this guy wants to make me happy, so he gave you money. So because of me, you got pleasure. So there's a direct connection of giving pleasure between the husband and the wife. Says, you got pleasure because of me. That's not Pshat the Rambam. That's not what the Rambam is saying. The Rambam is saying, Medina V'Knaini is that the giving of the middle guy to the woman, the money, he gave her money, and then the money is also pleasure. I only transfer the pleasure. He says, what? If you're already transferring, considers that his giving, I'm transferring the pleasure, transfer the money itself. Mitoch who pressed you. And more than that, by Evet Kanaini, the only way it can work is to transfer. The third possibility we mentioned, that I'm causing pleasure, cannot work by Evet Kanaini. Because by Evet Kanaini, what happened? Middle people, outside people, gave money to the master to redeem him. You can't say that the third possibility, that the slave caused pleasure, resulted pleasure to the master. Because whatever, a slave can never cause anything. Because if it's causing something, means you can own causing, so it belongs to the master. It's the evidence that belongs to the master. He never gave. He can never give. This is the whole point of the Kashmur. The loveness of the Kashmur, that's the Rashba's Kash. I want to review it again. Listen carefully. This is the genius move of the Kashmur. The genius move. Listen to this. This is the key piece here. Again, there is 3 possibilities to learn by Evet Kanaini what happened. And the Big Shmuel says that Raj was saying one is out, one of the 3 is out. So then the other 2, it makes more sense what I'm saying now the Rambam. That's the point. That's the Kash of the Raj. Who pressed you? You already, the third possibility, you're bound, you have to throw out, because there's a fit of the Kanaini. So who pressed you to say your way? Say my way, it's a better way. Okay? Let's say the 3 possibilities. A middle guy gives money to the woman for the sake of the husband. He doesn't acquire the money to the husband.
Who's the he?
The middle guy. The middle guy gives money to the husband, to the groom, to the woman, and he says, I'm giving it for the man. You should be married to the husband, to the groom. Okay? There's 3 possibilities what happened here. One is like the simple language of the Rambam. If you read the Rambam's language, simply means, he says, you are married to me with the pleasure of the gift that you received, biglali, because of me. So it seems to be in those words that there is a direct relationship between the husband and the woman. True, I didn't be ask the middle guy to give the money. He wasn't my shliach. The Rambam says the Rashi says it's a shliach. The Rambam says the little guy is a shliach. He didn't say that. And he's not my shliach, and he's not my agent to acquire the money, but he's my shliach, he's mezaki, he merits me, that the money that he gave will be for my marriage. So it's not a shliach. I didn't appoint him as a shliach. But I can say, the Rambam says like this. This is the language of the Rambam. Read the Rambam's language. I am Mekudeshesli, you are married to me. Ba'anozu, this pleasure, Allah that came to you, biglali, because of me. So it seems in those words that there is a relationship with the husband and the woman. It's passive, but because of me. Not because of me, because I said it, he gave. He agreed to give for me. He says, like, you got it for me. Because of me. He says, it's a mimele, but it's a relationship, and I want to marry you for that. He says, not possible. That's not what's happening midin Evet Knaini. Why? Because Evet Knaini, that cannot work. That's bound. Why? This is impossible. Because by Evet Knaini, he doesn't have anything.
Who's the he?
The Evet Knaini, the slave. The middle people, by their giving, you can't say then there is a relationship between the slave and the master. That's definitely out. So that cannot be Pshat Rambam, Evet Knaini. Elamah, you must say 2 other possibilities. That the middle people giving money, proof of the money.
Relationship, because the law that what goes to the evidence goes right to the owner. That's a relationship.
Relationship, but not a cause.
Okay.
Pleasure. So as I said, cannot be I caused you pleasure. Can it be only a relationship? That's the point. You said the point. Now he's saying, when you already said a relationship, who pressed you to say A, not B? Listen carefully. If the middle people gave money, they gave real money. And they gave also pleasure to the master. Money with pleasure. They didn't give the money in the condition to give back.
Well, no, it's pleasure. It's
Tachlis money, which also, no, I said pleasure because I'm explaining you.
Money has
What happened if they give Matomas Lapsi? They give him,
It's
they
not
give,
cut it. It's business.
it's a real business, they gave him money.
It's business.
Very good business. So, Tachlis, I'm not, it's not the point, that's not the
Kesef
point.
is bad now, you mean.
Kesef, and money that has in it out. Very good, that's the proper definition. So now what happened here? Their giving of real money that has in it pleasure, relationship considers, next time is considered?
Yeah.
Considers as if the husband, the master, the slave did it. So the word considers, nechshav, a relationship as if the husband did it, the slave did it. So why, if I'm already talking considered, why I say consider that I transfer the pleasure?
the money.
The money itself. It's even better. If I'm already transferring, considers, it's not a cause. Because there's no, there can never be a relation between the slave, a direct relation that I cause you pleasure between the slave and the master, which by us is the husband and the woman. That can never be a direct relationship, because not similar to the kind. So it's only the middle people acting of giving money that has in it as a pleasure. So and that's considered as if the slave gave it. So if you're really talking about considering, don't say consider that you transfer the pleasure. Consider the joker himself, the real money. And you can have you both. You can have kesef and pleasure. But why say the most less thing, only the pleasure? It's crazy. Who pressured to say that?
You can't marry
You can't give money, so that should be against it.
What?
The slave can't give money, therefore it should be against that sport.
No, that's why a slave can never give money. So that's why there's no cause of the slave to the master to receive pleasure. There's no cause. It's only them giving, and it's considered as if he gave. As if.
But that's hard to say because if he can't do it, say as if he did it, because he can't do it. That's a little bit. That's
the Kiddush of every but no. But you can't say. But definitely you can't say he's a cause. A natural cause that cannot be. Because he can never own anything, he can never cause. Whatever he causes, the master causing himself. Because the slave is the master. So the master's causing himself, he cannot marry that. So the only thing is to be that the outside people, their action of giving real money is considered rabid, as if he gave. So if you're already saying that there's a relation without a cause, move not the pleasure, move the money itself. Yes.
Because that's what's happening. That's hard to say. I'm sorry.
We explain yourself. I don't understand what you brought.
It's hard. If the slave cannot give money on his own, and you say
He cannot even cause pleasure, cannot give money on his own, right?
So now you're going to say it's as if he did it anyway, even though he can't.
Right.
So that's a little bit hard to say because since the eager
I agree, it's hard to say. That's a question. But what?
That's what God said.
That's the point, yes. Yes, Rabbi Yoshua. One second. Yes, Rabbi Yoshua. Oh, very good. So that's the Rashal's point. The Rashal saying like this. Although I agree to you by Orem that the relation between the husband and the wife is pleasure, that when the groom gives money away, the woman told her groom, give money away and I'll marry you for Midin Orem. There, the husband is causing pleasure to the woman. Or the money is considered that she used, or the pleasure, but there's a direct connection to cause a result with the husband and woman. But if I don't want Evet Knaini, by definition, there's no cause and result between the slave and the master. That's out. So you can't say pleasure means, okay, the Rama says not money, but the husband caused, when the middle guy gave money for the husband to be married, the husband caused the woman pleasure. Cannot be cause and result because by every kind is no relationship. So therefore, the only way to be is that the middle guy is giving money is considered as if the husband gave. But it's not a relationship; it's just considered. And so you already considered why transfer the considering of the pleasure as if he gave, consider as if he gave the money itself.
Because if you say that, then you're against the whole concept of the law that every slave cannot give.
No. You're already saying that's considered.
So
but when considered, don't say consider pleasure. No, but when I say consider pleasure, I never meant to say cause. Consider is not cause. So if I don't consider, why consider only the pleasure being moved around? Consider as if the goof of the money was given around.
Because it's against the essence of the relationship that exists. It's against the essence of the relation of master and slave that it can't be. It's against that
And by saying that the pleasure is not against?
No, the pleasure isn't, but the money is the pleasure not.
Why?
Because that's the nature of the relationship of a Canaanite, of a master to a slave.
Then what?
That he can't, the slave cannot give money. But he
And what, he can give pleasure?
Pleasure, yes.
No.
There's no, yes.
No, listen.
So
I'm explaining. Listen carefully. I know, but I want him to get it. To get the point. The body of the Eved Canaanite belongs to who?
The master.
So now the slave says, I'm going to dance now. Salsa. And you can have pleasure from this dancing. So listen, the slave gave the master pleasure? No. The master took pleasure from himself. From his own self. Because the slave is himself. That's the point. So the slave can never give anything. Not money and not pleasure from his body. Can. This is the point. This is the whole point of the Kashmir, by the way. Okay, let's argue on this. I'm going to read it inside where the Kashmir is saying it. This is the whole point. This is the whole point. That's the whole masterpiece of the Kashmir, the way he learns that the longest kasha of the Rabbi against the Rambam was. You can't explain means causing pleasure, because that's what is the word of Knaim. But it is considers. If you consider why you're already moving around, the pleasure move around the money.
When you get that idea different, you can't get pleasure. Where is it?
Because Shmuel says it. So I tell you why. Because your body, when you give me pleasure, who's the you?
Slowly.
I'm saying the slave gives the master pleasure. Is the slave giving, or the master's taking pleasure from his own self, what he owns? That's the point. The same way he cannot give me money because he doesn't own money because I own him. So his body, I own him. If he gives me pleasure through his body or through a cause, he doesn't have any essence of himself. I own his body.
That's only a possibility in life.
So tell me the other possibilities. Yes, I want to hear from you.
The only truth is money, and pleasure is not money. Pleasure is an intangible thing.
Intangible, very good. But where this intangible came from?
It doesn't matter. The definition and law
can come from the slave.
What?
Can be this in that aspect. The slave can be outside of their master, an external of the master. To consider as he gives.
Who says that that's the definition of the laws of education?
I'm saying not.
Who says it?
I'm saying not. Definitely not. I'm saying definitely not. It never came from the husband, from the slave.
But I said that's not.
It came from the little people as considers as it. It cannot be that the slave gave it.
Well,
no, Botzer, they cannot give the money.
Why can't it be? Why can't it be?
Because he's owned by his master.
Why can't it be?
Because he's owned by his master.
So what? That's no right. That doesn't prove anything. Where's the halacha that says something like that? It says the money, but not pleasure. The halacha. Where's the halacha every time it says such a thing? So what? Well, now what's the definition?
What's that word?
I'll
translate the word. Eved Canaanite, a non-Jewish slave, his body is acquired to his master.
Good, his body, very nice.
His body, another thing.
For what?
Yad Eved Ke'al Gabo. The hand of the heaven is like the hand of the
earth. What? Money. Any object, monetary value, money. What's your right more than money?
Pleasure is a translation, a form of money.
That's only in foreign leftist and possibilities in general, not particular in this particular gather of halacha of master and slave. Who says that's included? What's your right included?
Because I'll tell you why. Because if I own the master, the slave, the body of the slave, and I own to the level that all his work that he does is mine.
Work.
Listen carefully. His work doesn't mean that he made work and he owes me the money of the work and I acquired the work. No, it comes because I own his body. So listen carefully. It's not like I owe you money, for example. So I said, okay, my work that I'm producing work, it's worth money for you. And I'm transferring the value of the work to you. That's not what happens by slave. Eved Canaanite doesn't work, maybe even Ifri. It is machlokes, Rabbi Shmuel if it works like that. But Eved Canaanite, everybody agrees that because I own the body of the slave, so the slave is like my can't say that, it's like my animal. That's what the Moses. It's like the animal. So therefore, so it's not that the animal produced something and then the animal owes me, therefore I own an exchange of the ownership of the owing. No, he's mine forever and ever, his children, his grandchildren, all mine, not because it's because a result of ownership is body. Eved in Gufa Komru. So therefore, if now the Eved now cannot own any money because he's owned by me, he has no essence of himself. So the same thing is, mine is mine. His intellect feel is mine. His dancing is mine. He cannot own, he cannot transfer and connect to me and with every pleasure. It's not outside, it's me. It's one of my limbs.
So that doesn't prove pleasure. That does not prove pleasure. I'm sorry.
So what does it say? What do you want to say?
It just proves ownership. It doesn't prove pleasure.
So how can the slave be an outsider to cause the master pleasure from his ownership that he gave him? There's something from him.
Who says ownership is side?
But you're not listening. Listen.
I am listening.
Answer me opposite. How is it possible that the slave can give the master pleasure that the master doesn't own?
Why does he have to give it? It's just the moment.
Because the master has to be, the slave has to be free. So he wants to be free.
What's free? We're talking about
The slave wants to be free. Can the slave go to the house of the master, take money out of the house, and give the master, here's your money, I'm free? He says, what are you doing? It's my money. You can give me anything. So it has to be outside money. So where is the outside renewal of new pleasure that is not owned by the slave? Money or pleasure, either way.
No. Sorry, not pleasure. Money.
Explaining pleasure, how does it work?
Pleasure.
It's
Money. It's not the same thing. Pleasure.
But I'm answering. I understand what you're saying, but explaining how does it work?
How does what work?
How can the slave own pleasure to give away pleasure that the master
He
doesn't
doesn't
own?
own the pleasure. That's
So what? He doesn't own. So the master got it on his own, not from the slave. The slave never gave it to me. And the Rambam says, no, the slave gave to the master, the husband gave to the woman. This gave pleasure. See, it can't be a relationship. It has to be as if, considers. But it can't be a relationship. That's open to the Kashmua. And therefore the Kashmua says yes and no. Okay, yes.
From the din of Olive, we see that even according to Tosfos,
Yes.
it says that it's as if the woman got the money itself,
Yes.
but she never got kesef de isbeano, because the shimush of the money is by that guy. So by Olive, you say, and that's a chesaron of money. Moses says, after that day, she didn't get any money.
Right.
So why do we start with other things? But the Maisa, you see from Olive that when someone gives before me, that giving, whatever she got, any I know she got, any money she got, but she never got kesef this man, no, because the other guy has the kesef of shimush of the kesef.
Okay.
So maybe over here, by Nani, when this pliny is giving for me, when this pliny is giving for the chassan,
Yes.
it's impossible that he's giving the kesef this man, no. She'll never ever get both. Yeshiva said maybe both. It's impossible. From only to see that when someone gives to someone else, if it's not shlichus,
Rabbi Israel, no, you're wrong. You're wrong. Look in the last paragraph of the Kashmur.
no,
Listen carefully. I'm explaining to you. Look the last line. The last line of the Kashmur.
last line, come on.
The last line.
Which paragraph?
ג' אלא שהוא מפורש גם בעשרה קרש בו דמקדש בגוף הנסינה. What does that mean? גוף הנסינה and pleasure. God says pleasure. It means the money and the pleasure.
Money, not the money and pleasure.
Both.
Only the money, only the pleasure.
It's already if it's exeras hakos and choshi, so choshi guf hanasina and also the pleasure.
No, that's not necessarily true. It depends what the
Not saying I'm not talking about hechsher now. I'm talking about stability. He's not asking now. He's asking this possibility cannot exist. That possibility can exist. This is the last possibility. The way Mikashmol sounds like that. That's his answer to the number. Okay, now let's go back to the Hashemah. Comes now the Birkas Shmuel, and it's very late, so I'll just say the last piece, and say it was small Musa Shmuz. The big Kiddush which I Mechadish 2 nights ago. I want to say over in Musa. But I'll just finish. This is Gabriel? I'm looking, I can't see well. It's not. I thought it was busy. Anyhow, comes the Rashba, he says, who pressed you midoch? You already cannot explain that the pleasure of Evet Kanaini, middle guy gives money for the groom, and the groom says, I marry with a pleasure that you got to receive because of me, can be a cause or result, has to be nechshav. So it's already nechshav. I say down, no, say the goof of the kesef. So who docha? Okay, that's number one. And it's more similar to a Canaanite. If you want to have a Canaanite is not a cause. A Canaanite is nechshav. It's considered as if. It's already transfer the goof of the money, not the pleasure.
But you can't marry with money.
What?
According to the Rambam, you can't
And the
marry
answer that Rambam will answer according to the Kashmul in the end, that Rambam, he said money and pleasure. When he said pleasure, he meant money and pleasure.
But you can't marry
And it's
with
nechshav
money.
on both. That's the way he answered. What?
Money can also be pleasure.
Correct. It can have both. Yes, it'll be
It
so.
has both
It
things.
doesn't have
Yes.
to be.
Doesn't have to. Yes.
It's not.
Okay. Comes the Kashmul and he says like this. This is the next kasha of the Rashi. Comes the Rashi and says, Midin Shneim, there I'll prove you wrong. Midin Shneim, he says, there doesn't work. Bichlal. Why? Because what happened here? Midin Shneim is, the woman tells the middle guy, give money to the groom and I'll marry the groom. Okay, that's Midin Shneim. Again, the woman tells the middle guy, give money to the groom and I'll marry the groom. Now, there's two possibilities how she can get married. Listen carefully. The Big Kashmos makes a beautiful piece here. And really, it's not the first guy. But in this piece, it's not the Kashmos first. Abdul already said it before. This point, what he's saying now. There's two possibilities. Is the woman tells the little guy, give money to the groom. So the giving of the little guy, the action of the giving to the woman is what marries her. The middle guy gave money to the man, to the groom, money. So taking out money out of himself. Choser kesef, he lost money out of himself because of her words. That's midin oreh. So then, that's one way to marry her. In this middle case, when the woman tells the little guy, give money to the groom and I'll marry the groom. There's two ways, two machinery, how she can be married. One way is that when the little guy gave away money to the husband, on the behalf of the word of the woman, so she became a guarantor. She got a pleasure of a guarantor. Okay? So he's marrying her with the losing money of the little guy for her because of her word. For the sake of the husband, also to get a Canaanite. That's one way to learn it. But he says the Rambam doesn't learn like that. That's where he gets started. He said that's where you're wrong. There's another way to learn. That's the way the Rambam. The Rambam says no. It's not the giving away of the middle guy money on her words of pleasure of it. Is the groom receiving money from the little guy, and he says, from the fact that I received money, I'm giving you directly pleasure because I agreed to receive. So first was her giving, and he's saying only works for Adam Choshu. But here, this is really continuation of the first kasha. He says, that's where I don't agree to the Rambam. He says, you're the Rambam that says that you're transferring you consider that you transfer the pleasure, not the money itself. He says, if is the giving of the middle guy, if the act of the middle guy giving, the groom, the woman tells the middle guy, give money away to the groom and I'll marry him. So if I'm marrying from the action of the middle guy giving, what the middle guy was giving? Real money. He's giving real money and also giving pleasure. So he says, there, I can transfer the money, I can transfer the pleasure. Okay, I don't need to. There I can say, who pushed you? But he says, you the Rambam totally went off. He said, it's not meeting all of the middle guy action of giving, it's the groom receiving. By groom receiving, he says, there is impossible to say that I'm giving away pleasure. The only way to transfer pleasure from the receiver to the woman is only through Adam Choshu, and he is not Adam Choshu. That's the kasha. So it's a lomdus kasha, one lomdus kasha. And the Rambam will answer two possibilities. Or like David Miluim, that he says that you don't need Adam Choshu. When you need Adam Choshu, when the woman gives directly to the husband money, she lost money. So the only way to consider she got back pleasure, if the pleasure of the husband is so big, because a noble person over succeed the fact that she lost money out of pocket. Has to be on the choshen. A noble person doesn't overcover the loss of a pocket. But if she never lost money, somebody else, the little guy didn't lost the money, she just said, then even this noble person that she admired, because that's her future husband, it's already considered she received pleasure without a choshen. That's one answer. Second answer is no. The really pshat the Rambam is not that the husband receiving and he's giving her pleasure is the middle guy giving money, and he's giving the money that he's giving is considered money and pleasure both. And that's what the Rama said. When he said pleasure, he meant really money, and it's not the receiving of the husband, it's the middle guy giving, and we did mean kind of the same thing. Okay, this is the bottom line end of the discussion. You have to learn it well. This is what the discussion was.
How the pleasure comes, money with pleasure?
Because every money has pleasure. And once I do nechshav, אז אני יכול להעביר את הכל. I can move both. It's not the Rama said pleasure, he says money. The Rama said measurement means close, means kesed shibek ano, and he's focusing on ano.
It's only in deed.
Right. But really is mavi both.
So how come by olive then? You have a kasha now. How's you can explain olive?
Olive is only pleasure.
Oh, but how?
Oh, baby, both.
When the Gemara said, I forgot the less, that she didn't get any ano. What ano didn't she get? The Gemara said by all, she didn't get ano.
She didn't get physical money.
Oh, but over here he's saying she got physical money, she got both.
Nechshav.
Kapri neksha?
Nechshav.
That's easy.
Good, easy. Let's go back now. I want to tell you a word of Musa. Okay. With the help of Hashem, we see out the Dishmai. This Chiddush is a Chiddush I heard from my father.